Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into a really fascinating allegorical text, Where is the Majesty? It feels incredibly relevant, I think, for anyone sort of caught up in chasing external goals.
Yeah, it's a compelling little story. We've got this girl, right? Her camping trip gets rained out, total disappointment. But then she sees this huge mountain peak through the clouds and boom, declares it her destiny.
And that sets up the whole thing. We're going to use this story to dig into ambition, maybe the cost of that laser focus, and, well, the idea that maybe what we're looking for isn't always where we think it is.
Exactly. That internal fulfillment often seems to slip through our fingers when we chase it too hard externally. The mountain becomes, as the text says, the answer to the rain.
Which is such a powerful phrase, isn't it? It immediately frames the goal not just as an ambition, but as a cure for present unhappiness.
Right. And that's the paradox we want to unpack.
Yeah.
How does chasing that external answer actually blind the character to the very thing, the majesty, the fulfillment she's searching for?
Let's start with that initial moment. The disappointment about the rain turns instantly into this fixed idea. The mountain is destiny.
And the moment that clicks, everything else gets pushed inside. It's quite stark how quickly her priorities shift.
Yeah, the immediate world just becomes secondary, almost an obstacle.
The text gives clear examples of these immediate sacrifices. Like, she's so eager to start climbing, she skips breakfast, skips coffee with her dad, just thinks, the mountain waits.
That feels significant, deferring connection, nourishment for the sake of the goal.
And it's not just people. She sees her plants outside, looking thirsty and wilted, but again, it's postponed. I'll water these when I get back.
It's like life itself is put on hold. The mountain is the real thing. Everything else is just waiting.
It suggests this mindset where everyday life, watering plants, having breakfast, it all gets recategorized as just maintenance, stuff you do after the important quest is done.
Even beauty on the path gets deferred. She walks into this forest. It's described as enchanted, sees this amazing mushroom. A perfect spot for a pause, maybe?
You'd think so. But no, her mind is already up the mountain. She thinks, I'll meditate here tomorrow. Puts it off.
And worse, she misreads the magic, right?
Completely. She feels that enchantment, the forest's own presence, but tells herself this is the magic of the mountain already being felt.
Ah, so she projects the goal onto the present moment instead of experiencing the present for what it is.
Precisely. It's a classic case of filtering everything through the lens of the future reward. And it's not just beauty she ignores, it's pain too.
Right, the blister. Her boot is rubbing, causing real pain, but she just vows to soak her foot after she gets back.
Pain becomes just another inconvenience, something to be pushed through, suppressed, because acknowledging it might mean deviating from the plan. The mountain's schedule is paramount.
So the present moment, whether it's offering, beauty or warning signs like pain, it just gets flattened. It's only relevant in terms of how it serves or hinders the climb.
But here's a question, maybe a devil's advocate point. Wasn't the mountain necessary? Without that goal, wouldn't she still be miserable in her tent? Isn't some external drive needed?
That's a fair point. The story doesn't seem to suggest goals are bad, does it?
No, I don't think so. It seems to hinge on the rigidity. The drive gave her movement, sure, but the tunnel vision turned potential experiences into mere sacrifices. The goal became absolute.
And that inflexibility really comes to a head near the summit, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. She hits this steep cliff face. Now, a geologist sees rock, right? But she sees...
A test, the mountain's final challenge. She thinks she has to scale it to be worthy of its majesty.
She's layered this whole moral drama onto a physical obstacle. The mountain is judging her now. And climbing with that injured foot, well, it leads to disaster.
She slips, falls, sprains her ankle badly. Should be game over.
But her identity is so wrapped up in reaching that peak now. Quitting isn't an option. So she pushes on, limping around the cliff in agony, just trying to make it before sunset. That perfect view is still the target.
It's excruciating just reading about it. And the irony, she makes it, but too late.
Right. She collapses at the summit, totally spent. And the tears come, relief, yes, but also sorrow. She missed the sunset. The big payoff moment is flawed.
The view itself is okay. Valley lights are nice, but the forest is dark. Clouds hide the stars. It's not the sublime perfection she envisioned.
And this is where the story turns inward. The external achievement is kind of, it's It didn't deliver the promised feeling.
Yeah, the text says while she's crying, she touches her tears and has this flashback, this connection.
To the similar heartbreak for the wetness of the rain, the feeling that started the whole quest.
It's like a circuit completes. The endpoint sorrow mirrors the starting point sorrow. And suddenly, all those things she ignored or deferred.
The breakfast, the plants, that mushroom, they rush back into her mind, but now they feel different, meaningful.
Leading to that core realization, the majesty of the mountain wasn't there atop of the mountain at all?
It was something inside of her before she ever even noticed the mountain.
Wow. That's huge. The majesty wasn't the view, it was the capacity she discovered within herself during the climb. The resilience, maybe.
Exactly. The struggle itself generated the feeling she was chasing. Her whole perspective flips. Suddenly the cloudy sky seems more majestic than the stars ever could have.
Because it reflects her internal state. The turbulent journey.
Perhaps. And those missed moments, the sacrifices, they aren't regrets anymore. They're deeply meaningful because they were part of the process that led to this internal understanding. Nothing was truly lost in gaining that insight.
So majesty here is basically self-awareness, self-worth born from struggle, independent of the external conditions.
I think that's a good way to put it. But then she makes a mistake, doesn't she? The story isn't quite over.
Right, the cautionary part. After having this profound internal shift, what does she decide to do?
She decides she has to go back, see the sunset and stars properly on a clear night. And get this, she tells herself it's in honor of what she learned about her own majesty from within.
Oh, the irony. Trying to honor an internal realization by repeating and perfecting the external act that led to it.
It's that paradox again, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We grasp an internal truth, and our first instinct is often to try and, frame it, validate it externally, pin it down somehow.
So she tries to rewind, go back and fix the flawed parts of the journey, revisit the life she ignored. How does that go?
Predictably badly. She waters the plants, but they still seemed wilted. The life had gone out of them, or maybe the meaning was in the initial neglect, the choice she made then.
And the meditation spot.
She goes back, but the mushroom was gone, and trying to meditate there just felt empty, meaningless.
You can't step in the same river twice, right? The magic was in that specific moment of encounter and deferral.
Exactly. And even breakfast with her father, when she finally has it, wasn't as special as how she imagined it. The opportunity, the connection she missed that specific morning couldn't be recreated.
But she doesn't give up on the mountain peak, does she?
Nope. She's persistent, camps out, keeps going back up day after day, until finally she gets it. The perfect clear night, the stars, the sunset, the flawless external view she originally wanted.
Victory at last.
Well, she achieves the external goal. But the feeling, totally absent. The text says she could not feel the majesty there.
Wow, so the perfect view felt flat?
Yeah, it was almost the same as from her home in the valley. Without the context of that first painful, flawed journey, the view itself was just geography.
Which completely nullifies all that extra effort she put into getting the perfect experience. It leaves us with that haunting question.
Where did that majesty within go?
So what's the answer? Where did it go?
Well, I think it shows it was never in the view to begin with. That internal majesty, that feeling of self-worth and clarity, it was generated by the process, the struggle, the pain, the contrast, the realization born from the imperfection.
Like the hedonic treadmill idea? Chasing a feeling that can only come from the journey, not the destination.
Exactly. You can't shortcut it. By aiming for the perfect external repeat, she skipped the essential ingredients. The hardship, the failure, the sudden insight that only came because things went wrong the first time.
She tried to capture the feeling by replicating the external conditions, but the feeling was tied to the internal work she did during that first messy climb.
So the allegory is a powerful warning, really, that maybe the biggest wins in life are realizing our own capacity for resilience or joy exists before we hit the external target.
And trying to bottle that feeling by just repeating the actions, it's futile. Worse, maybe it diminishes the original insight.
Right. It suggests we need to value the present, the wilted plants and ethereal mushrooms, not just as scenery or obstacles on the way to some summit, but as the real substance of the journey.
That's where the real tests of presence and character lie.
Indeed. And maybe the final thought, the really provocative bit, is about what she lost in those successful return trips. Perhaps the majesty wasn't just tied to the struggle, but specifically to the failure of the first attempt missing the sunset, the sprain, the imperfection.
That the failure itself was the gateway to the internal realization. And trying to erase the failure also erased the pathway to the feeling.
Precisely. The majesty wasn't despite the flawed journey. it was because of it. Realizing that what she needed was inside her all along, even back in that rainy tent. That was the true summit.